Hey guys, it's Vernie here. Got another talent tree review for hero talents for the War Within. And the next one that we are going to review is Scalecommander, which is Aug and Devastation Evoker. Now, Chrono Warden was released a few months ago. I briefly glanced at that one. Honestly, I'm going to have to give that one a hard look, but I don't really play Augmentation too much. I have been playing Dev quite a bit. I do it semi-regularly in Keys, and I've done like the first 6 bosses in Mythic on it. Just like an alt raid, so I have a little bit of an understanding of Devastation. It's a pretty fun spec. I like it a lot. It's like simplistic, but also there is some depth to it. Looks like my webcam is going out of focus. 1 second while I adjust this. Sorry. That's jarring. There we go. Okay, cool. Anyway, continuing. So, the first talent, Mass Eruption and Mass Disintegrate. For augmentation and power spells, cause your next eruption to strike up to 3 targets. When striking less than when striking less than 3 targets, eruption damage is increased by 25% for each missing target. And for devastation and power spells, cause your next disintegrate to strike up to 3 targets. When striking less than 3, disintegrate damage is increased by 25%. Wow, kind of interesting. On the dev side of things, that seems really strong for single target. So 75% disintegrate. I guess it's only one. It's only one disintegrate, right? So, and it's during your empower spells. So every like 30 seconds, you're getting 2 really big disintegrates that cleave or do massive single target. Okay, kind of interesting. I think it's a fun spell. So let's see how it builds around these points first. Going down the left side, Might of the Black Dragonflight. Black spells deal 10% increased damage. Seems kinda lackluster because the only spell that Dev has for black is Deep Breath? Huh. Oh, okay, so I see some other Deep Breath mentions here in the talent trees below it. So maybe there'll be some more synergy, but it seems like a pretty meh talent for Devastation. For Og, sure. I mean all the earth focused spells are Black Dragonflight, so Eruption. What is the other spell called? I don't even know what the other spell is called. It's your spender. You spend essence on to extend your Ebonmite. I don't even know what it's called. That's how little I've played it, but I have played it. I mean, it seems like an okay node. Pretty boring, but it's yeah. Melt armor. Deep breath and breath of eons cause enemies to take 20% increased damage from bombardments and essence abilities for 12 seconds. I mean, that seems pretty solid. Essence abilities such as disintegrate or eruption, fire breath. Huh. So what is a bombardment? Okay, so we're going to jump around just a little bit. So bombardments, mass disintegrate, and mass eruption mark your primary target for destruction for the next 10 seconds. You and your allies have a chance to trigger a bombardment when attacking marked targets, dealing volcanic damage split amongst all nearby enemies. Okay, so you empower your disintegrate or eruption. You cast it. It puts a debuff on them, and allies attacking it causes that to proc, which deals damage to everything. Okay, seems kind of interesting. Now there are some questions as to like what the proc rate is, how much damage it is. Um, does it evenly split amongst all enemies, or does it fall off after like X number of targets? Could be interesting. Okay, so continuing back down the left side. Choice node, hardened scales. Obsidian scales reduces damage taken by an additional 5%. Sure. I mean, obsidian scales is already a pretty decent cooldown, but more on top of that is not necessarily a bad thing. And then menacing presence, knocking an enemy up or backward reduces their damage done to you by 15% for 8 seconds. I mean, it seems like kind of like a mostly PvP based talent, this one. I can't really see you doing it too often in dungeons. I think I personally would rather have just the 5% magic reduction or damage taken reduction. So yeah, I mean, this seems like a fine choice. Nothing super impactful, but sure. And the capstone, maneuverability. Deep breath and breath of eons can now be steered in your desired direction. In addition, deep breath and breath of eons burn targets for volcanic damage over 12 seconds. Oh, that is amazing. That's like my biggest complaint as an evoker is like not being able to point the breath. Like once you start the breath cast, it goes. It goes wherever you pointed it to. It's a straight line. So there are many times where it's not safe to fly because you're just going to fly directly into something. I even have clips on my Twitch of a dude doing it on, I think it was Forgotten Experiments at Aberrus, where he just flies, he deep breaths some ads to get some damage in, and flies straight into another mechanic and immediately dies. So being able to steer, that is huge. I'm really curious how that's going to work, how mobile you'll actually be. I wonder. Hmm. And can you like go over them repeatedly? Like if it's like a 30-yard range, can you do like a little loop, like hit mobs here, do a quick turnaround, hit them again? I don't know. Kind of interesting. I do like that. That's a nice capstone. So I guess the rest of this tree is going to be building around Deep Breath. I like it. It's a fun, flavorful spell. Okay, so we talked about bombardments. Your empowered disintegrates and eruptions are going to leave a debuff. Enemies attacking them, it'll cause more damage. Cool. So Wing Leader. Bombardments reduce the cooldown of Deep Breath and Breath of Eons by 1 second for each target struck, up to 3 seconds. Ooh, okay. So some cooldown reduction, building a nice little loop there. I like that. I mean, being able to use Deep Breath more is fun. I think it's a cool spell. And Breath of Eons is obviously crazy for augmentation. So even getting like half a cooldown reduction off of this, like from 2 minutes to 1 minute, that's huge. Okay, Choice Node. Extended Battle. Essence abilities extend bombardments by 1 second. Okay, sure. Diverted Power. Bombardments have a chance to generate Essence Burst. Oh, okay, that last one's really interesting. So, allies hitting it is giving you Essence Burst? Or is it... This has to be like a low proc, because if it's based on other people hitting it, and the chance goes up every time another person hits it, then you're getting crazy amounts of essences. Huh. Could be really interesting. I'm really curious on how this interacts with bombardments. Surely there's like a built-in ICD, right? Like 10 seconds or something. Otherwise, you would just be like, have essence out the ass, which sounds fun. All right, and going down the right side, Onslaught. Entering combat grants a charge of Burnout, causing your next Living Flame to cast instantly. So Burnout is your instant cast Living Flame proc, as it says here. Entering combat grants a charge. I mean, that sounds pretty good in dungeons. You know, depending on how long your Fire Breath is charging, you're getting those Leaping Flames, which allows your Living Flame to cleave to up to 3 extra targets. So that could be fun. Getting a nice big burnout guaranteed every time you hit combat. So you lead with the Fire Breath, you're in combat, it gives you that Living Flame proc. You send 4 Living Flames out. Pretty good burst. This would also be nice for like RNG situations where, you know, in single target and you're not getting any kind of essence procs on the pull. And without essence burst, you can't get your free disintegrates. It makes it harder to extend your Dragon Rage. But with free burnout procs, which give guaranteed essence burst procs during Dragon Rage, that could be kind of useful. And the few, you know, it doesn't happen often, but there are times where you can run a cooldown cycle without getting a burnout proc, which makes it more annoying. So cool. That sounds like a nice quality of life thing. Not super impactful damage wise. I mean, it's only like a couple percent, I think, for each spec Living Flame, but sure. Unrelenting Siege. For each second you are in combat, Azure Strike and Living Flame deal 1% increased damage up to 50%. Cool. So while in combat, they will scale up to 50% damage. That's, again, fine. It's not super impactful, but a nice little like quality of life plus damage. Now I'm curious, out of combat, does it disappear instantly or does it decay? If it decays over time, it's pretty good in dungeons. If it disappears instantly, it's a little less appealing, but still nice. Again, these are like filler spells, so you can't really ask too much of them. And the Nimble Flyer. While hovering, damage taken from area of effect attacks is reduced by 10%. Wow. That seems really good. Dev is like kind of squishy in certain situations, so having 10% reduction while hovering is pretty sick. Because hover's like a 30-second CD with 2 charges. Pretty nasty, honestly. You like to see that. I mean, Aug is kind of crazy defensively, though. I feel like giving them more defensives is questionable, but I talk for another day. And then Tailwinds, Deep Breath and Breath of Eons reset the cooldown of hover. Okay, that could be nice. I can see that. If you're getting like 1 minute deep breaths, having an extra hover, if there's like a really heavily movement based fight, this could be nice. And you'll be able to steer your breath. So, wow, I mean, overall, I really like this tree. I think these spells are flavorful. I think this tree is pretty impactful without being too over the top. Oh, I don't know what I just hit, but but sounds fun. Okay, I'm down for it. I like the flavor of Deep Breath and Breath of Eons a lot, and being able to steer is a huge quality of life change. Means you're going to get killed way less. Kind of interested to see how the bombardments interact with like Essence Burst. Could be really crazy strong. I love the Mass Disintegrate. If you ever did Sarkareth, that boss had it and it looked cool as hell. So being able to disintegrate multiple targets and then just having them take a boatload of damage seems like a lot of fun. And it's every empower spell, so you get two every 30ish seconds. Pretty sweet. I like it. More of this, Blizzard. More of this stuff. Less Lightsmith, less Oracle, more Scalecommander. We like that. But anyway, let me know what your guys' thoughts are. You can catch me on twitch.tv, twitch.tv/Veronix, and we'll see you next time. Peace.